right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like we do have stream health. Looks like we finally connected. Took it a little bit longer than usual. I'm adjusting VPN settings and doing things a little bit differently from how I might normally. So thank you for your patience. If you're not already subscribed, do smash that subscribe button. Every click counts. But again, mind your biz community. Your clicks might count for a little bit more. Additionally, if you haven't already signed up for Mind Your Biz Insiders, the sign up is available at mineyour.biz, as well as the description area or the bio of my Twitter account. That means a lot that you would connect there or give me permission to connect with you in the future. We don't often send out email communications, but the point is it's there in case we need it, in case we are ever shut down ever again. We have had problems in the past because the various platforms don't like some of the things that we say. So it's nice to have email as a backup. FYI, super chats are not enabled on this stream on the new home for Mind Your Biz. So if you do feel so inclined, please consider donating to charity instead and just make comments. I'll just interact with your comments as they come in. No need to super chat to get my attention. If you haven't shared this link on Twitter or on Facebook or on LinkedIn, by all means, do share the link. It helps so much when you share this link while we're live. And if you're on the old Mind Your Biz channel, if you're on our channel with the previous Mind Your Biz channel, the one that I initially started with, which, by the way, was converted from my tech channel and my training channel from when I was a tech trainer at Microsoft, Google, and Samsung, please follow the link in the description of that video so you come to the new home for Mind Your Biz. This is the home for the Mind Your Biz channel where we will continue to build and grow. We'll continue to interview other creators, and we'll continue to talk about projects that are important to us, talk about profitability, create new charts for profitability, create new tutorials for all kinds of technology, including hardware wallets, etc., etc. This is where we're building. This is the future of Mind Your Biz. So thank you so much for assisting us in building that up. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we are live. I'm going to go ahead and jump on screen just to ask you one more time, if you're over on the old home for Mind Your Biz, click on the link down in the description, come to the new home, because I am about to cut off the stream over at the old channel. Before I do, just a reminder, click all the buttons. Click all the buttons. You're welcome to click all the buttons and then jump over to the new home for Mind Your Biz. Alrighty. Nobody here but the folks at the new home for Mind Your Biz. I see the Deadwood in the chat. I see Paul D. I see Bobcat, Crypto Mikkel, proof of live comments. Thanks so much for being here. The Deadwood says, well, this is the same beat in Bronson. Great movie. You know what's funny? That's one of the Tom Hardy movies that I've actually not seen, and I keep telling myself that I'm going to watch it, but I, for whatever reason, don't seem to make time for that one. I also haven't seen any of the Godfather movies, if you can believe that or not. I actually went to a university film school and managed to not ever watch The Godfather. Who does that? Apparently, you know, your boy Mind Your Biz. Let's take a look at the Fear and Greed Index. Looks like I've got my stellar background. Let me go ahead and just chop that out so that we have a little bit, there we go, a little bit more comfortable backdrop for you. Appreciate you being here with me live. But current Fear and Greed Index is 28. Down from yesterday's 29, down from last week's 44. And you know that I talk about this as a counter indicator. I'm going to briefly just talk about what it is that means for anybody who's new to the channel, or for any beginners who may be wondering, what is an indicator? What is a counter indicator? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's just means that it indicates whether or not you should do a thing. And a counter indicator is kind of the opposite, right? When people are doing one thing, I think you should do the opposite. I'd like to do the opposite. Right now, people are kind of going a little bit crazy in terms of pricing. There are a couple of exceptions to that. Sometimes there are safety in numbers, and we're going to talk about some of the articles, some of the things that are happening in the Bitcoin space in particular that I think we should bandwagon right onto. We should do together. Vis-a-vis taking your Bitcoin off exchanges. That's always a good idea, though. That's always in fashion. You don't need to wait for somebody else to do it first. You should just hold your own cryptos, in my opinion. But when the market is moving one way, right? When people are acting fearful, I think you should be greedy. And when people are acting greedy, I think you should behave a little more caution. But that's just my take on it. Before we dive any deeper into finance or markets or charts or anything else, I got a red screen ya. Here it is. I don't offer legal, financial, or business advice, at least not in this way. I do offer consulting for feasibility. I do offer consulting for blockchain integration and for systems that are suitable for small to mid-scale businesses, and in some cases, even institutional grade, right? So commercial grade solutions, and I've been doing that for a couple of years now. Crypto has legitimately changed my life. I haven't been super open about that, but that's what I do when I'm not otherwise creating media. And I'm super grateful that I've been able to make that change in my career. I spent a long time doing it for the big companies, right? Tech training and corporate training for a long time, and that was okay, right? But I think I prefer what I'm doing now over what I was doing then. So just to say, right, like this is great, and I appreciate you being on this journey with me here on YouTube. You have in large part enabled that career change for me. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Guys, if you ever get tired of hearing it, I mean, just know I don't get tired of saying it. I really do appreciate you. You have helped change my life, not just crypto, but you, right? You. And your click really does count. That's what I mean when I say I love your face, and I do this for you. All right, jump back into the current Fear and Greed Index. Looks like the score is not changing all that much. Last week has put us into this sort of new channel of sentiment, if that even is a thing. But I think when we're taking a look at macro investing, and when we're taking a look just sort of at like markets from a bird's eye view, or when we zoom out, I think it's important for us to take a look at the Fear and Greed Index and things like CPI, even more so than taking a look directly at the Bitcoin chart. Why would I say that? Well, I would say that because that's kind of what led me to draw these lines. Change the chopsticks. Let's zoom back in on those. And I realize this is huge, right? There's a lot of slop in this chart, right? I mean, how many days is that? How many weeks is that? A lot. But the point is, it is showing something of a macro now, right? Like it is showing something of a fractal, rather, is kind of what I'm saying. So up, 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 and really push to try to find new support at a higher level, but we didn't actually get there. See, that's just it. This is the first time in many weeks that the low is printing a lower low than the previous dip, right? And I've been complaining about that for several weeks. Like, this doesn't seem right. It seems like something is manipulated. It seems like something is not quite adding up, and certainly the volume doesn't. It doesn't seem like it's quite right. Like there's not matched volume on our red candle days and our green candle days. Now, again, not being a technician, and I talk about not being a technician, I can't pretend to like be able to identify certain patterns that people will traditionally use in technical analysis. But this, as my understanding goes, with these these markets, especially with Bitcoin, which doesn't behave like just any old commodity. When I don't see enough volume to support certain moves, it makes me question, like, okay, how sustainable is that? And now we've got the MACD flipping into a bearish histogram right there. So we had a convergence event, and of these two lines, right? And now we are the averages, and now we're into a bearish divergence, right? Or rather, a bearish histogram on the MACD. This is the first time we've seen that in a little while. It looked like it was propped up a little bit too long, right? These, if you want to try, I'm sure there's a wave analysis, there's pattern analysis for MACD that people are specialists in. And again, I can't pretend to be that guy. I'm not going to pretend to be that guy. Guys, I'm going to try to keep it as real with you as I possibly can. So I just kind of zoomed out and said, well, we got to expect this at some point through the chopsticks, a little farther out into that downward channel. And here we go. Bob's your uncle, right? I do think this is possibly a little more appropriate. And I do still think that we can go lower. Don't ask, can it go lower? Because the market, especially Bitcoin right now, will continue to tell you. It'll scream to you. Sorry. Did I throw a little CT on the screen? Maybe that was worth it. Okay, so don't ask if these markets can go lower, because they will consistently scream right back to you. Yes, they'll give you the Chad yes, right? They'll just sit there still like, yes, these markets can go lower. And I genuinely think that's the case, that in a maybe close to this pattern. I mean, don't go setting your buy or your sell orders based on this chart. The point is, we zoom way out and we try to keep these indicators and these performance channels very, very broad and generous for a reason. But I do think that it has been helpful. And I am looking for Bitcoin on a greater sale than it's at right now. I really do think that we're going to get it at lower prices. I genuinely think we can see it somewhere between 12.5 and 14K. Now, people who are saying like 8,000 to 12,000, awesome. I hope you get some Bitcoin at that price. I really do. You, dear audience member, I hope that it's you, not somebody else. I think that you deserve it. I really do. I really think that you deserve it. And I really think that you're going to be happy if you get Bitcoin at that price. I'm just not confident that I'm going to get it at that price. So I'm happy to start dollar cost averaging in when I see those ranges of 12.5 to 14K. So I'll just, kind of value average in. I am waiting for a sale, but I am going to continue to just throw in tiny bits when I finally see those prices. But that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Let's jump into a tactical news segment. This is something that I haven't done in recent live streams, or that I haven't done in past live streams, and I'm starting to feel a lot more strongly about. I realize I ramble a lot too. Maybe that's the so-called charm of the Mind Your Biz channel, and I appreciate you showing up for my shenanigans. But I think Uncle Seth kind of needs to do a little bit more tactical coverage of these markets. Before we jump into Bitcoin versus Ethereum, though, let's talk about just fiat. Let's just talk about dollars. Let's talk about payment rails that we're used to having at our disposal, and talk about what we can do to change, right? Paul D, I believe things can always get worse. I'm an optimist. It's true. That's the thing, right? You can absolutely be eternally optimistic and just realize things can get worse. So the thing that's going to stay positive is you, not conditions, right? You change things because you're the optimist. Yeah, but if you rely on perfect conditions at all times, you're not an optimist. You're a baby, right? Don't be a baby. Be an optimist. I love that. Yeah, that's a great life philosophy there, Baldy. All right, so PayPal user agreement has changed. I got this in my email, a little notification for my PayPal business account, and I'm very glad that I do have a PayPal for business account and not just a personal account. I strongly recommend that anybody who is doing any kind of e-commerce, or really any kind of commerce at all, or even a side hustle, that you do what you need to set up a corporate entity. It doesn't have to be really difficult. You don't have to kill yourself doing it. You just have to get it done. And it's not self-important. It's just one of those check boxes that you get out of the way so you can start operating in that manner and enjoy all the benefits of the corporate write-offs that are only available to businesses, not to individuals. But I digress. PayPal, they sent this out, and it affects individual users more so than business users. But effective September 19th of this year, so next month, as of the time of this recording, U.S. business accounts will not be able to receive personal transactions from PayPal accounts outside the U.S. starting October, which it's weird to say it's effective this date, but then that change is effective October, and so is this one, October 31st. So happy Halloween. You can't get personal payments from outside the U.S. on PayPal. Why? It doesn't say that. It doesn't tell us why, but what would you guess is the reason why? Tell me in the comments, guys. I will read your comments out loud, but why would PayPal be shutting off foreign personal payments to domestic account holders? So this does affect business accounts. I said it exactly backwards, right? So, sorry, business accounts won't be able to receive personal payments, transactions from personal accounts. And then U.S. PayPal accounts will not be able to send personal transactions to business accounts outside the U.S. starting October 31st. 2022. What is that going to do to eBay? What is that going to do to all of the various marketplaces that rely on PayPal right now? Well, eBay has been slowly building up its own internal financial system and decoupling itself from PayPal. If you are a seller on eBay, you've already been aware of this, that your payouts don't happen on PayPal anymore. And they haven't for quite some time, for many, many months. eBay has been offering the ability to take your payouts directly to your bank. They have their own payment processing system in place, so they're fully vertically integrated at this point. And it looks like that's going to be the way that eBay gets around this. But what about, just selling on your own website with the PayPal button? It's actually a very convenient thing to be able to do if you want to set up your own static website, not rely on Shopify, not rely on marketplaces like Amazon or eBay, and just sell your own goods and services. What does this mean for the small business owner? What does this mean for the individual that wants to conduct business using PayPal? In my opinion, what it means is, it's the end of an era. It's just over. It's stopped being any good now. PayPal was marginally useful before. It is now becoming useless. Pricing for sending and receiving certain donations is being updated. The new pricing will result in fee increases for some transactions. So they're also saying that anything that would be a donation is now going to be processed with a payment fee. So anything that was the redeemable quality about PayPal before looks like it's probably just going away. But that's news in the fiat world. How does that affect us in crypto? Well, it gives us a lot of incentive to move past all that. Let's talk about Simon Dixon and Bitcoin. Simon Dixon, if you don't follow him, he runs an outfit called Bank to the Future and also is a YouTube creator. A quite intelligent guy. He runs a business that is crypto related, again, Bank to the Future, and that is what all his content is based around, is market commentary as it relates to banking, Bitcoin, and other cryptocurrencies and digital assets. Very intelligent guy. Look forward to having him on the channel at some point, but today he was quoted in Crypto Slate as saying that El Salvador's Bitcoin policy could be the first domino to fall in bringing down the International Monetary Fund's fiat-based Ponzi scheme, or the IMF's fiat-based Ponzi scheme debt mechanism if it succeeds. And he said, betting a percentage of a country's future, I believe, is a completely responsible, not irresponsible strategy. And the IMF wants countries to follow irresponsible strategies of fiat-based Ponzi scheme debts. He's entirely right. The toxic lending from the IMF and from the partner nations that sometimes will fund other toxic loans to these smaller countries, it's an old playbook, right? Read the Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Wonderful read, also great on audiobook, but Confessions of an Economic Hitman speaks very plainly about how the United States and other major developed nations are complicit in the IMF's toxic lending program, creating bad debts, creating Ponzi scheme type debts so that developing countries can never escape from debt while they're attempting to develop their way into greater prosperity. But you can't borrow your way into prosperity in that way, right? If the loans themselves are toxic, if you don't know how to get ahead of them, if you ain't the rich dad himself, Robert Kiyosaki, it's very hard to make debt work for you for most of these countries. And he's saying that Bitcoin could be a way out of this. He said, I was deep in debt trying to create a bank. Then Bitcoin treated me well. I became wealthy because of Bitcoin. So it's pretty amazing. I love that Simon is so just vulnerable about that and very plain about that. How he opted out. He opted out of the legacy systems that were going to keep him enslaved and indebted while he was attempting to set up a bank, attempting to set up a financial services business and a bank. Bitcoin just helped him kind of short circuit the funnel that these other lending entities are trying to throw, warm bodies into. So kudos to Simon, and kudos, of course, to the people of El Salvador. Hopefully that bet does pay off for them over the long term. Investors are taking Bitcoin off of crypto exchanges like never before. Is this a reason to cheer? Well, let's take a look at some of the numbers. Apparently in June, over 119,000 Bitcoin left exchanges. In July, 96,000, and now in August so far. I suppose that the measurement is only about halfway through August by the time they took these numbers in. About 65,000 Bitcoin. So we could be seeing an outflow of a similar amount to or more than we saw in June and similar to July. guys, nearly 300,000 Bitcoin or more will leave exchanges in those 3 months. I think this is cause for rejoicing. I think this is the most important trend that we're going to see in this market. And I hinted at it earlier in the live stream that this is something that we can take inspiration from and that we can do very safely, right? We can follow this trend and not have to be contrarian. Like, well, is the market doing this? Well, I'm going to do that. Like, no, don't leave your coins on exchange just because other people are taking them off. There may be some additional fake yield being offered to you if you do leave your coins on exchange, but I promise you any one of the incentives that any centralized exchange or lending entity is pretending to offer you is a lie. It's fake. It's not sustainable. And we've seen that very clearly with offerings like Celsius, BlockFi, and to a lesser extent, Nexo at this point. Voyager, all of the collapse of the various groups, right? Babel Finance, Vald, it's been so toxic that people who've been able to get their Bitcoin off of these exchanges, they were the lucky ones. And so to see this trend continue, it's only a good thing. It promotes the cause of decentralization. It makes Bitcoin useful for its stated purpose of getting people out of the toxic environment, like what Simon is saying in his article as well. This is an expression of the correct way of thinking about finance. Now, you can put Bitcoin back into exchanges as El Salvador has done. You can try to tightly monitor it the way El Salvador is trying to do. And I don't know if I fully agree with everything that is in the sort of El Salvadorian program for Bitcoin, but he's not wrong. It is a step in the right direction. And while it's imperfect, it's better than what they had, or it could be if that bet pays off. And we see that the price of the Bitcoin does appreciate over time in order to keep them free from toxic loans. Let's see. Paul D also asked, whatever happened to that Monero run? Might be a good time for a Bitcoin one. Yeah, that could be very, very cool. The Deadwood also comments, the manipulation today is unfathomable to most. And jumping back into our comments, Deadwood says, we thank you for your brain and time breaking the knowledge down for us. Well, I appreciate you saying that. You guys, I'm just doing what I can, doing my best to make content that is valuable. So appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you smashing like, subscribing, bell button, and sharing this video while it's live. It really does. Guys, I've got to do the game, right? I got to play the game there. Got to ask every time that the opportunity comes up. The Deadwood says, thumbs up, y'all. And Baldy says, Bronson plot is basically the same as the Mad Max reboot. Oh, got it. Okay. Good to know. Deadwood says, slow, then 90 miles per hour, then calm and slow. Emotional roller coaster. It's about England's most violent prisoner, Charlie Bronson. Awesome. You know what? I love it. I got to check it out sometime. All right, guys. Appreciate your comments coming in. And we're going to finish up our news segment here by taking kind of a big turn away from Bitcoin. I hope you'll forgive me, but there is a side of the crypto markets that I think is an important trend to notice as well. And that is that NFTs are still selling. Nike dropped almost $200 million worth of NFT sales. They did really well. Right. So for them to be in competition with, the likes of Dolce & Gabbana, Tiffany, Gucci, and Adidas, they're also involved in NFT sales on Ethereum or on Polygon, depending on, how you see them being minted or transferred. But you see with you see with some of the brand value of these sneaker companies, a $200 million profit is not bad. It's really not bad at all. I mean, when you're talking about tens of billions of dollars in brand equity and then hundreds of millions of dollars in NFT sales, I think they've found their next win. It's really that simple. Now, I don't know how badly I want to get a pair of like virtual Nikes or virtual Adidas. That's probably not the right thing for me. But for these brands to be able to do that, it validates the business case and validates the whole business life cycle of NFTs, especially if they can add utility to some of those NFTs. So there's future purchases available or future perks available to holders of those NFTs. It's a very positive trend, in my opinion. You tell me what you think of Nike, Adidas, and some of these lifestyle brands and luxury brands getting involved in NFTs and having this level of success. Do you think that's net positive? Do you think it's net negative? Would you buy a Nike NFT? Would you buy it just because it's Nike, or would you buy it because you saw that there was some other quality to it that makes it a desirable acquisition or purchase for you? Let me know in the chat. Definitely appreciate you being here live. Let me adjust our next article into dark mode. You're welcome in advance. But jump out of the way here. Just say digital currency group backs DAO tooling startup Mural in $5.6 million seed round. And you love to see it. Guys, DAOs are another aspect of the cryptocurrency and blockchain ecosystem, the Web3 ecosystem, so-called, that we need to see come into maturity. Bobcat Cannon says, virtual Crocs, though. He's right. They would feel about the same because Crocs feel like you're literally walking on clouds. So, you know, and the cloud is just somebody else's computer, right? So it works, right? It totally works. I see the logic. And I mean, they feel like nothing on your feet. So, you know, NFTs are literally nothing on your feet. Why not? But the DAO, the digital currency group backing Mural. This is huge. Being able to see DAO tooling get simpler and simpler. This is exactly what we need to see. In the same way that projects like Manifold.xyz, open source scripts that anybody can use to launch generative NFT collections at scale, the same way that we see some of that stuff being so simplified, DAO tooling needs to be simplified as well. I know that Aragon tried to do that a few years ago. It didn't quite land the way people hoped. Also, Moloch DAO is something that's a bit simpler. It's the one that Vitalik Buterin endorses and uses himself, but they're still not quite as simple as most people would like to use. Having the low code, no code movement and revolution within Web 2 extend itself into Web 3 is totally what's needed in order to get broader adoption. And I know some people are like, hey, when the normies get in, the opportunity's over. And you're right. That's true. So we still have, like those of us who are slightly more technologically inclined, we still have an advantage moving into that space. In the same way that right now, if you were to set up a website and you understand how to do at least minimal sort of HTML, JavaScript, CSS, like modification and theme creation, you have an advantage over somebody who's just stuck using, say, like base templates on, say, Shopify. You can set up your own sovereign websites and you can host them wherever you want as static pages. Many people are not capable of that, or they tell themselves they're not capable, and so it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that they never build anything using those tools because it's just too hard. If we maintain that posture into Web3, those of us who are like right here on this live stream, especially the miners, GPU mining fan, people who are unafraid of technology. If we continue to be unafraid of technology and making mistakes and learning new things, we will win as Web3 gets more adoption. But we do need more people in Web3. Like that's true as well. We need more adoption. So we need simpler tooling for more people to get involved. So I think this is huge that this is happening. But some of the quick highlights or takeaways from this article are that Digital Currency Group, they own the news company CoinDesk. You've probably heard of them. Genesis Global Trading and Grayscale Investments has backed DAO tooling startup Mural in $5.6 million deal. According to a press release, Galaxy Ventures, First Minute Capital, Ali Corp, and 186 Ventures also took part in the round. Love seeing those who are building get funding. The Goblin Dude asks, mineyour.biz, do you have a Rumble account? No, I do not have a Rumble account. I don't know if I should. I'm mostly focused on YouTube and possibly to a lesser extent Twitch. There is, I've been hearing, some rumors that Twitch wants more crypto content now. So we'll see how that works out. Kevin Hawthorne's in the chat saying, good morning from Lakeland, Florida. Thank you, Kevin, for spending some time with us this morning out in beautiful Lakeland. Guys, Kevin is such a great member of his community, and I so appreciate the way he thinks global, but he acts very local. The world is better for people like Kevin being in it. All right, guys, let's see. Take a look. Crypto Mikkel says a degen miner life is the life for me. FA. It's awesome, man. Yeah. Crypto Mikkel, guys, another one of the real ones. Do follow Crypto Mikkel directly. Crypto Mikkel Designs, another great actor in the space. Somebody that you definitely need to know if you're interested in running nodes or if you're interested in learning about mining at all. So not just mining as we think of it with GPUs or ASICs, but mining with master nodes, with enhanced service nodes. If you want to run your own VPNs, have your own single board computers, do your what is it I'm looking for? Do your helium mining systems like that. If you want to set those up, Crypto Mikkel is a great resource for you to learn from there. Let's move over into Ethereum news. The merge's initial success is key to driving Ethereum much higher, says the CEO of Nexo. And he says, we will have to wait out and see, but it really depends on how quickly the new network picks up customers and transactions, because then it becomes a positive feedback loop where it could go much higher. And Ethereum could benefit from its deflationary status, the so-called triple halvening. Now, I do take issue with this because miners done told you way back when EIP 1559 was proposed, when it was about to go into production. Miners warned there would still be potential exploits. MEV boost, flash bots, and a couple of other attack vectors, well, so-called attack vectors, made it possible for third parties to get more block reward out of each block mined. And that will still exist after the merge. So the thought that we're going to be super deflationary within Ethereum, I think, is a pipe dream. I don't think we can fully model exactly how the coin emissions will be after the merge. And I don't think that the deflation will work in the way that the developers hope. And I mean, not least of all, because people who are staking after the Ethereum merge are going to have the same incentives that people who were mining had. So why wouldn't they use some of the same tools like MEV and flash bots that were used by mining pools? Why wouldn't they use those same tools to get more block reward? It just makes sense, right? Follow the money, follow the incentive. The people who stand to gain the most are going to be the most vehement exploiters of the network, right? Crypto Mikkel says, much love, Uncle Seth. Just want to be as cool as you when I grow up. LOL. Bro, you are already cooler. What are you talking about, man? Mikkel is awesome, guys. And then, again, go sub to his channel. You need to know this person. But yeah, so if benefiting from the Ethereum's deflationary status, I just don't believe it's going to pan out the way that a lot of ETH maxis say. Let me jump back in time to cover some news as well to validate what I'm saying here. This is from a few weeks ago, and it's the Ethereum testnet merge, right? So Ethereum's last test before the merge is quite good, despite air quotes confusion. We're always talking about how things are so good and it's so great. Here's a Ethereum. Here's a giant ice cream cone. Never mind a tiny little fleck of dog poop that's on top, right? Instead of a cherry. I'm a little bit worried by stuff like this that seems to just be like hype cycle, right? So Beko, right? I mean, hey, great guy, really great guy. But let's talk about the real news here, the Gwirly testnet merge. It's the third and final testnet merge before the blockchain transitions to proof of stake from its current proof of work. The merge was executed on that date around 1:45 UTC, and it saw the Gwirly testnet merge with the Prater testnet, a proof of stake beacon chain, represented the final test run before the actual merge takes place. But here's the issue. I'm just going to say I was using a related service, like a very popular service, and I attempted to use the Gwirly testnet to set up a class environment, or to set up a testing environment, a skills challenge environment for one of my clients, because I need to help people at this client increase their skills. Well, guess what happened with the Gwirly testnet after this merge? Nothing happened, because it couldn't record my transactions correctly. And even after looking up the transaction on the Block Explorer, it did not actually result in me setting up the environment that my client needed. So now I've got to go to a low fee chain instead of being able to use a testnet. Good job, ETH Core developers. Your testnet merge is broken. How can I have confidence in the mainnet merge? I am as shaken as I've ever been about the Ethereum mainnet merge based on that experience, and I'm very, very concerned for people who have heavy bags of Ethereum right now. We might not see the adoption that everybody is hoping for, and we might not see the level of velocity through those first post-merge blocks that Ethereum needs to see to keep from seriously dipping. Now, that said, I love what Crypto Wendio says about having a bullish plan and having a bearish plan. I would strongly recommend that the mineyour.biz community have a bearish plan for the post-merge economics, right? It would be much smarter for you to have a bearish plan than for you not to have a bearish plan. And I appreciate you guys sharing the link while we're live. I see that we definitely lost some viewers. Don't know what's going on there. Have had some viewers not with us for a little while, so bummed about that, but definitely appreciate you being here, those of you who are here right now. Moving back into our main news, though, guys. The Thorswap Thorswap, speaking of getting liquidity and just that into the dark mode, you're welcome in advance. The Thorswap is adding cross-chain swaps to the majority of Ethereum tokens. Let's take a look at their quick take. So it's a multi-chain DEX aggregator. If you're not familiar with Thorswap, running on Thorchain, launched its cross-chain swaps for over 8,300 ERC20 tokens. Thorswap removes the need for users to bridge assets and enables native asset swaps directly in its platform. Huge, huge, huge. Absolutely love to see that. And wow, let's just take a look again here. Oof, what happened there? Guys, I don't know what's going on. I wonder what is happening with YouTube at the moment. We've not had an experience like this in quite some time. Do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, and please do share this while we are live. We're fighting against having crypto essentially being censored on YouTube. So hopefully this stream doesn't cut at any point in the next few minutes. I'm almost a bit worried about that. So yeah, appreciate you being supportive. Yeah, definitely appreciate you being supportive of the channel and of this stream as we go. So do me a solid and yeah, do share the link. All right. Yikes. Jeffrey Varnum says, let's see, hard to get the live stream at work. Paul D says, you're just a bitter miner. Rainbows and unicorns after the merge. Yeah, you love to see it, right? People like of all these flavors, you're just going to choose to be salty, right? Like, why would you do that? Why would people do that? It's crazy. But yeah, and because there's no other incentive, right? Other than mining. Miners are just greedy and they love to wreck the price, right? Nobody else is going to ever sell Ethereum ever again after the merge. But Thorswap is looking pretty good. BendDAO is fixing its NFT liquidations, and that could lead to Bored Apes selling at a discount. I think it's already begun to happen, but what's currently happened is that BendDAO's liquidation mechanism could see popular NFTs like Bored Apes available for discount pricing, and the new liquidation process was approved by the community members in a vote just today. It already had some sale pressure being applied to the BendDAO holdings, and especially to the Bored Apes collection. So we're already seeing a little bit of a floor price dip of the Bored Apes. Is this good, bad? Do you care? Do you think that we need to have, pictures of Bored Apes and of CryptoPunks become our so-called blue chip NFTs for NFTs to stand a fighting shot at being relevant? I don't think we do, personally. I don't think it's nearly as important as some in the cryptocurrency ecosystem believe. All right, let's jump into our market talk. And for our market talk, guys, we're going to take a look at TxStreet.com. We've got Ethereum on one side of the screen. Take off the median block. Take off pending transactions. Keep our median transfer fee up, median contract fee up, and then also our median gas price. We want to see kind of the averages there across all of those. And then same with Ethereum. You're noticing that the fees over on Ethereum are pretty darn low. Median fee in sats per VByte. And we're also going to take a look at, just median fee. That's all we're going to do over on Bitcoin for right now. But we see the median transfer fee is under $1 over on Ethereum, and the median fee in sats per VByte on Bitcoin is quite high, with the median transaction fee at about 39 cents. Contract fee on Ethereum, $4.62. And what does that mean for us? It means it's probably still a good time to be able to right-size your portfolios on Ethereum, to right-size your portfolios on Bitcoin. This time last month, it was perfectly legal for me to say that there was legal precedent for people to be able to mix their own cryptocurrencies with decentralized protocols like Tornado Cash. And I'm still in a little bit of disbelief that I can't say that right now. I'm still in a little bit of disbelief that the U.S. Treasury, that the OFAC division has made it illegal for U.S. citizens to interact with those smart contracts on Ethereum now. And who knows, if they've done that, it's entirely possible that they will make it totally illegal for people to interact with Whirlpool, right, or with CoinJoin, and to execute CoinJoin transactions on their Bitcoin holdings. So I personally think that we've gotten the only warning shot that we're going to get. So if you see low fees like we see right now, definitely consider using those low fees to your advantage to correct your current holdings in your wallet. Take a look at the cost to mine one full Bitcoin, and at a S19J Pro, we're looking at about $14,500 to mine one full Bitcoin with break-even price at 11.5 cent power, roughly. In some territories, that's going to put you out of the profit because the average across the United States is not 11 cents. It is not 10 cents. It is actually closer to 14 cents. So with that in mind, let's check out whattomine.com and check to see what our pricing is there. Low as it's ever been, as low as it's been in quite some time. So at this point, the top of the line 3090 Ti, which, by the way, if you're a very shrewd negotiator, you may be able to get on eBay or other marketplaces as close to $1,000 as it's been for a long time now. 1,200, 1,300-ish is kind of the average of what's being advertised. You can see it for about 1,400 or 1,500 even on eBay, but you may be able to bid down closer to the, oh, hey, they've got a price right there. That's great. How am I not noticing that? Was this here the whole time, guys? Have we always seen average price for these GPUs? Because I feel like this is a relatively recent addition. But yeah, about $1,300 is the approximate price for the 3090 Ti. Guys, I feel like I'm going crazy. Was that there the whole time? Somebody please check me on this. Was that there the entire time? $1,300 is what's being advertised. About $1,100, maybe even $1,000 is what you may be able to get on the street. And you can get one for parts for far less than that, almost $1,000 off if you know how to recondition these yourself. Or whatever, if you fully reball the thing yourself in your workshop, if you had to, or reflow the main board. But profits are going down quite a bit, about $2 per day on the 3090 Ti. And you hate to see it, guys. You really do. The oldest cards are back out of the money again. Neoxa is coming up in terms of profitability. It's on the charts for so many different GPUs. And I talked about this the other day on TikTok. The mistake that a lot of miners are going to make over the next couple of months as we go into the Ethereum merge is thinking that their favorite coin will be the most profitable coin. Don't marry your bags. Just going to say that very, very clearly. Don't marry your bags. You can be a fan of Ravencoin. You can be a fan of Flux. But you really do need to figure out what is going to perform well over the short term, over the midterm, and over the long term. And if you need to do liquidation of your coins in the short term, you need to consider what's most profitable now, and then consider doing trades with that profit in order to get the bag that you really want. For case in point, today, mining Ethereum, you can prefer Flux by mining Ethereum and then buying Flux. You don't necessarily have to secure that network with all of your hash rate, and it won't necessarily follow that all of the hash rate from Ethereum is going to be used in some kind of a malicious attack against Flux after the merge. So your rigs and even your warehouse full of rigs might not be the deciding factor for Flux or for Ravencoin after the merge anyway, right? These are large-scale mining operations that are securing Ethereum right now. So you've got to figure out, in terms of game theory, what the best coin is for you to support, what the best network is for you to support after the dust kind of settles and we figure out what's profitable again. But I would not just say hey, my favorite coin is this. Nobody cares what your favorite coin is, right? Your rigs definitely don't care what your favorite coin is. They care. They don't even care about anything, right? Obviously, they're inanimate. But your business interest is not necessarily in what your favorite coin is. It's in what actually makes you money, right? Run it like a business. That's my take on it, guys. Take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, I don't think you should fall in love with your bags. Defi Llama is showing us that Ethereum is still the king. Hey, what else is new? Let's add in staking. Let's add in our pools. Let's add in our borrows, our double counts, and our liquid staking if we can. It's going to take a little while for this front end to refresh, but I still love that this is free. I can't believe that this toolkit is free. Ethereum, with all of those options selected, is at almost 64% of the total TVL of all smart contract networks, including, obviously, Luna, which is now dead. So it's good to see that nature is healing, right? Ethereum is back in the number one spot. BSC with 444 protocols supported is an absolute juggernaut, really hard to get rid of. But even without having to correct some of the TVL figures or check for protocol support, Polygon is now in the top 5, just based on TVL. And you've been hearing here on mineyour.biz that I've been vocally supportive of Polygon for some time. I think that Polygon is sort of like the people's chain, right? Restructure that or reorder that list for protocol support. And I think that kind of helps to prove the point that Polygon really is there for giving support to projects that people actually use. And so even if there might not be super high TVL, there's a lot of velocity. There's a lot of transactional volume on Polygon. And not all of it is like wash trading, and not all of it is like, whatever. People just like playing with their NFTs in their own little bags, or sunflower farm games that are showing, a ridiculous like overabundance of transactional volume by having too many calls to the network. No, I think it's that people actually do use Polygon. I know for my part, I'm much more inclined to use Polygon and even BSC than Ethereum. Those are my go-tos. Avalanche, not so much. Phantom, not so much. Really, though, it is Polygon and BSC for me. But you tell me what you use in the chat. Tell me in the comment section. And last but not least, let's talk a little bit about our portfolios. Let's show those off. Guys, GPU mining portfolio. These are all coins that can be GPU mined. The long-term hold we did since last May, and this is what we've gotten after that time. Flux is still in the money. Almost nothing else is. Everything else is down by by at least double digits, right? And then the biggest hit coins are such as coins like Haven and Grin. Now, their market caps, they lead me to believe that there may still be some life left in these. There may be another group that attempts to pick up Haven yet again, but unfortunately, all indications are that it's probably not going to do very well into the future. Conflux is showing a lot of profitability day over day, and with a $100 million market cap, or over $100 million market cap, it may stand a fighting chance of returning to profitability as well. Just something to consider, talking about not marrying your bags. I wasn't necessarily a big fan of Conflux before, and I still need to understand its use case better. But if it's showing profit and it's got that level of market cap and there's enough development funding to keep them going, they might make it into the bull run unscathed. They might do really well. Beam, to a lesser extent, right, with a $20 million market cap, very dedicated team there that's taken privacy very seriously at the protocol level. Firo as well at almost $30 million market cap. Ergo with almost $200 million market cap. And then, of course, your Raven coins and your Ethereum Classics. These are good candidates for being able to mine after the merge. Hard drive mining portfolio. Let's see what we got here. Hard drive mining portfolio. Got Chia down in the dumps. Not a big shock there. Got MadeSafe coin, least worst option, but everything is basically getting punched in the face at 30% down. CPU mining portfolio, Epic Cash is in the money. Raptorium is in the money for our long-term hold. But over the last week, they've not been in the money. It would have made sense to take profits and then to just step away from these bags if you could have at that point. So just be very, very careful with your CPU mining. Make sure it's something that is sustainable. Monero is the only one that has a multi-billion-dollar market cap. Everything else is kind of hanging on for survival at this point. Even Wownero, the unofficial testnet for Monero, is kind of holding on for dear life. So Monero is one of those projects like Bitcoin. It's not going anywhere. Speaking of Bitcoin, here's our ASIC mineable portfolio. Bitcoin is the least worst option. It's the least affected option by current market conditions, but it's still getting absolutely trashed right now by current market conditions. Litecoin at a $4 billion market cap puts it actually about as close to Monero as it's ever been. And then with Dogecoin having more than double the market cap of Litecoin, it begs the question, what does Litecoin offer that Dogecoin can't fork and do better, right? Like Litecoin offered the NWeb extension, so there's Mimblewimble as a sort of a side chain for privacy scaling or for privacy transactions. Dogechain could do that, and it could do it with more funding, right? They could carve off a few $1 million from a treasury and start handling that now. They could set up a donation, right, to add privacy to Dogechain. Be done in a few weeks because Litecoin already has it. But you tell me in the chat, what do you think that Litecoin has that Dogecoin can't replicate and do better, including memes, right? So, yeah, hate to say it, but that's just, it's what I actually think about Litecoin versus Dogecoin. Same with Zcash, though. What does Zcash have to offer that nothing else? The Goblin Dude says, sorry, Uncle Seth, I'm losing faith in YouTube. I will see you on Twitter and maybe Twitch. Much love, brother man. Hey, thank you so much. I definitely appreciate that. Definitely appreciate you saying that, guys. We're going to keep on trying, though, okay? So I'll be looking at Twitch as well and seeing what I can do here. Seeing what I can do here to kind of salvage the situation here on YouTube. But you guys have my commitment. I'm going to keep on fighting. We're going to keep on pushing for growth here on YouTube. We're not giving up. I'm not going anywhere. And I am lining up more interviews as well. So thank you for your support. It means a lot. All right, guys. That's our ASIC mining portfolio in a nutshell. FPGAs, what we got here? Kadena, obviously, still at the top of the list. Is it still in the money? Yes. And nothing else is, though. Kadena is an amazing project in terms of fundamentals, but I don't know who all is building in that ecosystem. I think with that size market cap and with the amount of funding raised so far, one of the most important things that a project, especially a smart contract project, can do is offer either a bounty program or offer a developer fund, right? So being able to offer developer grants helps attract developers and then make sure that they're building the kinds of things that you want built on your network. Kadena can do that for sure. Teller, 0x Bitcoin, everything else kind of looking interesting. Teller looking possibly a little bit manipulated there. I am not a Teller maxi. I'm not deeply involved in the project, so I cannot tell you what is currently happening to create this kind of upward channel that it's in right now, but it has gone up 8% over the last week, and its market cap is healthy and strong, so unlikely for it to go anywhere. Same with Digibyte, unlikely to go anywhere even at its depressed pricing. It's at almost $200 million market cap there. So, guys, we do have some projects here that are likely to come back in the bull market, not go away. Proof of stake smart contracts. What do we got here? Top of the list is Avalanche, then Solana. Bottom of the list is what? Terra Luna Classic, obviously completely deflated. Gonna leave those alone for right now because you already know my thoughts on that from Defi Llama. Junk drawer. Got any surprises here? Still no. Saitama Inu is still that top of the list. Everrise is still just below it. Even with that like fully diluted market cap or that fully measured market cap in Everrise, just amazing fundamentals there, or rather amazing returns, even though it doesn't have strong fundamentals. Let's take a look at some of our less exotic entries. Shiba Inu, right? So something that a lot of people have some faith in with a $7 billion market cap, almost an $8 billion market cap. It also is leaving Litecoin behind. I don't have strong faith in Shiba Inu only because it is so heavily manipulated through coin burns, right? So through token burning and reclaiming. I don't think that that kind of motion is sustainable over the long term. We got Hex as well, you guys. Hex down at the 5-cent range, so it's on sale. If you're a Hex believer, this is probably a good time for you to start setting your limit orders and figuring out what you want your entry point to be. I know for my part, I do have some exposure to Hex, and I intend to have a little bit more. So I will be dollar cost averaging into some of those as well. But you tell me, guys, in the chat, would you do it? Because I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. All right, guys, that's the top of our junk drawer. Leave the rest of that alone. IBC Gang. IBC Gang, where you at? Kadena is the only one that's still on the money. Cosmos Hub, Secret, least worst options there. Shen2 as well, and Osmosis. These are strong fundamental projects. Thorchain also not far behind it. Strong fundamental projects, but everything else is 80% or more deflated from its all-time high. Yeah, Paul D is out watering apocalypse broccoli plants. Good. Chia Moon news? Nope, no Chia Moon news yet. Sorry, man. Nothing about Chia going to the moon other than, no, I can't think of anything for that, guys. Yeah, no, Chia's not going to the moon anytime soon. Sad face. Sad clown face for Chia. Tenset Gems, guys, it makes me really sad to see this project, this whole ecosystem not doing as well as I'd hoped. Last week, though, or least worst performer in this side of the portfolio is the Conga Exchange itself. Just as a reminder, Conga Exchange does offer KYC light, so to speak, so with very, very reasonable limits for people who are not KYC'd. And then if you did want to KYC, you can KYC your business entity. So Conga Exchange is on my short list of exchanges that I would actually use and that I have actually used and that I actually enjoy using. Tenset, the launchpad itself, then MetaHero, Everdome, and Fame MMA taking the biggest hit over on their offering. Kind of a bummer. I think just bad launch timing for Fame MMA, but everything else is doing okay. Stables, what's the situation? Guys, looks like everything's doing all right. Everything's, nothing's depegged in some major way yet. USDD, this was going to be our canary in the coal mine, and as predicted, it has not gone above the roughly $750 million mark. And I think that's because of the collateralization ratio of the Tron treasury, right? Of the Tron holdings. This is a liquidity play for the Tron ecosystem. And so they've got, $750 million of stables in that ecosystem. And I think it's just going to stay that way until something massive changes in the Tron ecosystem or with the Tron economics. But I'm not into Tron. I don't know if you're into Tron. I don't have any holdings in Tron. Some people tried to pay me in Tether on Tron a while back, and I tried to quickly get rid of it as fast as I could. And I just don't feel comfortable there. But yeah, USDD, even with its promised 30% returns for locking up in their equivalent of Anchor protocol, I don't know how that's going to end up. It just doesn't look good. So Paul D is saying Thorchain is the cross-chain swaps thing. I need to learn more about that, right? I think so too. I think it's probably time for us to do that deep dive into Thorchain. Been resisting it for a while, but it is sort of the cross-chain. It's a cross-chain liquidity provider, cross-chain DEX. It's finally time. We need permissionless systems like it, so it's time to do a little highlight there. Let me know if you want to see an interview directly with their leadership as well, or if you know them, put me in contact with the Thorchain team. I would love to do that. All right, from stables back to our GPU ETH replacements, and this list is not super extensive. We're only putting in a few coins that we think might do well. Top to bottom, got Ethereum Classic, and this is all just from market cap. Ethereum Classic all the way down to Zano. Zano is only, $6.5 million market cap, Epic Cash under 10, Beam just at 20. And I think it starts getting serious when we get into the $100 million market cap, right? Of Conflux, Ergo, Flux, etc. I think that's where we start to see that there may be a fighting chance here. Firo is kind of that dark horse as well. It's shown profitability over the last year or so. We've seen it kind of jump in and out of the profitability rankings for GPUs, and that's great to see. It's a privacy-oriented project. It has privacy as a primitive, privacy as a native element of its blockchain. So it's one of the only ones on this list that does have that. Flux intentionally stripped out ZK snarks from its chain. It intentionally made it a fully transparent ledger, which it wasn't when it first went live. They took the post-sapling Zcash code base and they forked that. So they started with a code base that had privacy, at least conditionally, based on ZK snarks, and they have not added it back in. Flux, I'm just gonna ask, why would you do that? Why did that matter? Is it a compliance thing? If so, well, Zcash is not being sanctioned. Why did you think that having conditional privacy would not be a good idea? Because now I'm starting to really question why we would use it if there's zero privacy at all on that network. There's no way to become private on Flux at all. Makes me sad. Ravencoin, also no way to become private. How do I know? Because I asked their founder directly. I talked to Tron Black directly and asked him directly whether or not there was going to be any kind of privacy provisions for Ravencoin in the future. He said no. Core Visual is asking in the chat, did you ever do an interview with Colin Pape from Presearch? Curious what you think about that project. I don't have strong opinions on Presearch, and I'm very clear about that. I don't have enough exposure to Presearch to have strong opinions, but I was very close to setting up that interview with Colin Pape. We had an issue with our calendaring. We were scheduled to do it actually last month, and then it just fell through. So yes, that is on my radar, and I would like to do that because I know that the Presearch team they are trying to build. I know their treasury is very lean, but they are trying to build. Not that it affects me. I was offering to interview him at no charge. But I know it has kind of stifled the development of a couple of projects having their treasury go lean. But Flux, Ravencoin, no privacy. Ethereum Classic, well, we could have used the smart contracts from Tornado Cash, but now those are sanctioned. So it would need to be something that's entirely built from the ground up, similar to Tornado Cash, but with no fees, I guess, ensuring that there's some way for it not to get shut down and for the developers not to go to jail, ideally. That's what it would take to add privacy to that network. Dynamite Mining just said, I literally just put a couple of old rigs back on Ergo. Awesome. Yeah. I think if Ergo can run some ZK smart contracts, if it can run something that allows for privacy to be achieved on their network, then in my mind, that's one of the most important elements of working on, of lending hash rate and support to any of these networks if you're doing it for ideological reasons. Conflux as well, if it can offer ZK snark privacy or some other ZK proof that allows for people to be more private on these networks, then great. That makes sense. Cero possibly as well, but Firo, we know it offers privacy, and it is conditional privacy. It's unlikely to get sanctioned. Beam is privacy by default. Epic Cash is privacy by default. Zano is privacy by default. Guys, there's a reason that these projects were so appealing to me years ago when I first interviewed their founders, and projects that will support privacy by default, they always get time and attention from me without any qualms, right? Like, we need that. Do we need another dog token? Well, today, probably not. Do we need another token at all? Like today, probably not. It needs to be able to do a lot. It needs to be able to offer governance, or it needs to be able to offer some kind of enhanced benefit to people who hold those tokens. So yeah, we desperately need to see changes in the crypto ecosystem, and we desperately need privacy. We don't need easy tokenization. We don't need easy NFTs. We don't need even permissionlessness in the same way that you think, or decentralization in the same way that you think. We need privacy, because right now encryption isn't broken. I can run PGP and I can send an encrypted email to anybody using Google servers. Now, they'll flag it. They won't be happy about it, but I can still run encrypted messaging on Google servers, and they won't necessarily shut me down, nor will they shut you down. But we can use encryption on publicly available infrastructure right now and publicly available cloud right now. So we need privacy far more urgently than most people realize on whatever is going to become the successor to the hash rate of Ethereum. In my opinion, just my humble opinion, I think we need privacy more so than anything else. We need privacy back on Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? In a very real way. And we need it to be deployed in a way that the feds can't just easily make excuses about shutting down. Because there's nothing today, as the tax code law or the tax laws and as the rest of the financial laws apply, there's nothing inherently illegal about privacy. You can use cash right now. You can use bearer instruments like cashier's checks right now. You can travel around the world with certain amounts of cash. And I realize that they try to limit the amount that you can have with you, and that's fine. But you can travel from state to state here. You can travel from city to city here with nearly unlimited amounts of cash, depending on how much you bring in a given time. So I think we need that in the cryptocurrency ecosystem very, very desperately. And anybody who's telling you otherwise, I don't trust them. It's that simple, guys. I don't trust anybody who tells you you don't need privacy. And I don't trust anybody who tells you you don't need self-defense. People who say this have their own serious personal hangups. And I just don't trust them. So anyway, got really far off on an ideological tangent there, guys, but that is what Mine Your Biz stands for. It's not just about getting crypto value from mining. It's also about being sure that we stay private. Anyway, that's today's show, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate all the support and all the thumbs ups that you guys gave when before we got choked out by the YouTube algorithm. I don't know what happened there. I think they stopped sending out notifications, or they cut some of our viewership. Don't know what's going on there, but they didn't cut the live stream. So I guess that's a tender mercy. Appreciate you guys being here and being supportive. You're the reason I make this media. I love your face. Remember to stay private. Stay private and mind your biz.